What is up, everyone? If you are new to my channel or if you don't know who I am, my name is Vanessa Lau from vanessalau.co. I'll actually link my Instagram handle right over here so you can get to know me better. And what I do in simple, plain English terms is I love personal development. I read a lot of books, I go to events, I read a lot of articles. I'm obsessed with this kind of stuff. Anything that can help you be closer to your goals or anything that's going to change your life, I love. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I post a video every Wednesday about it? So that's what I do. I like to share my knowledge, I like to help others, and I like to inspire others. And that's something that I love, and that's something that I do every Wednesday, even if it's scary. But I do it anyways. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering, Vanessa, how am I going to change my life? How are you going to help me with that? Well, I have the solution, because 2 days ago, something exciting happened. I invested in myself and I bought a ticket to go see Tony Robbins. And not only was I able to get to see Tony Robbins, I was also able to see Jen Sincero. She's the author of You Are a Badass and You Are a Badass at Making Money. He was there. He's the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Bill Town was there. Also Bob Kittle. And oh, I almost forgot, there was also an amazing speaker. Her name was Loretta LaRoche. She specializes in stress management and she was such a joy. She was literally like a comedian. But anyways, you didn't go to the event, so why should you care? I know, that's why I made this video. So this video is essentially the key lessons that I learned from going to this 12-hour event where I listened to some of the most inspirational people in North America.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
In North America, let alone the world, talk about how you can change your life. So I thought that I would compile some of the massive learnings that I learned and put it in this video so that instead of you paying for a $200 ticket, you can get the advice for free. So if you are interested to know the advice that I got from these world-class leaders in terms of how you can actually change your life, then please keep watching and don't forget to watch until the end, because that's actually when I reveal my favorite tip from Tony Robbins. So with that being said, just keep watching and enjoy. So the very first thing that I want to share is actually from Jen Sincero. And what Jen Sincero says is there is a strong difference between wanting to change your life and actually deciding to change your life. Because the moment you commit and you decide is the moment where there are no more room for excuses and plan Bs. Let's take me for instance. When I left my full-time job to start an online business, that was me committing to changing my life. And guess what? It was scary as fuck. But what Jen Sincero reminds you of is that when you are outside of your comfort zone and when you are uncomfortable as fuck and scared as fuck, that's when breakthroughs happen. That's where growth happens. That's where progress happens. And she also reminds you that when something makes you want to scream and run the other direction because you're so scared, that's the stuff that you need to do, because that's the stuff that's actually going to move the needle in your life. It's like, for example, it's like working out. If you're not feeling sore the next day, if you're not sweating, if you're not feeling some sort of discomfort, are you really working out? Are you really making that massive change that you need to get that ideal body? It's the same type of principle in doing these scary things. These are the things that are going to lead you to the biggest breakthroughs that you'll have in your life, and these are the things that are going to lead you to massive change. So essentially what Jen Sincero is trying to teach you is that the moment you feel uncomfort, rather than being so scared by it, try to treat it as something that is kind of like a signal. It's a signal that you're growing. It's a signal that something that's scary is going to change your life. Now the next thing is that the moment that you've actually decided to commit, you've decided to be okay with that discomfort, next thing that we so often do is we plan. We overthink. We already visualize the end result, and because we're planning and planning and planning, we actually don't do anything. Now, take me for instance. I put off leaving a job that I wasn't happy with for a very long time. I put off starting an online business for a very, very, very long time. And that was because I automatically assumed that I was going to fail. And because I automatically assumed that I was going to fail, that I didn't have the right credentials, that I don't have the skill set, that I don't have the confidence, that I need to make sure everything was lined up and everything was perfect before I took the leap. But what you really need to know is that no matter how much you plan, no matter how much it's all in your head, you actually need to get into the game to discover it. Because whether or not you think something's gonna happen or you think something's not gonna happen for you, you'll never know until you actually do it and find out. Because if you never actually do the action and actually get into the game, you're never going to change your shitty situation. And I know, of course, it's going to be super uncomfortable because you're going to be put in a position where you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually jump in and do the act of doing, then you're never going to be closer to your goals and you're never going to be on that path that you desire for yourself. There's a lot of beauty in chasing the unknown. There's a lot of beauty in doing things that you're uncomfortable with. There's a lot of beauty of having these big, scary, hairy goals to chase after. And to illustrate this, Bob Kittle, he illustrates this really well. He says, chasing big, scary goals is like running down a very long corridor. And as you're running down this corridor, you're going to look to your sides and see a bunch of other doors. And what these doors represent as you're running down this corridor, they represent people that you'll be meeting. They represent the breakthroughs that you'll have. They'll represent the mistakes that you made that will turn into huge lessons for your life. And they also represent you discovering more about yourself. And going back to my own example, because really that's the only example that I can share with you, is when I left my full-time job, you think that I was scared to take the leap? Yes. But do I regret doing it? No. Because in taking that leap of faith and me jumping into the unknown, I was able to run down that corridor, not knowing exactly how long it'll take me to achieve that goal. But in running through that corridor, I've been able to open doors to mentors. I've been able to open doors to self-discovery. I've been able to open the door to business opportunities. So by doing the scary things and by chasing this goal, what you're really doing is you're jumping into the process. And what Bob Kittle teaches you is that it's really the process. It's the journey that truly matters. But in order for you to reap the benefits of that journey, you need to start and you need to accept that there will be scary things along the way. But I totally get it. At that point, you're probably thinking, well, Vanessa, it's easier said than done. Because when you do these things, you're going to be saying to yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm not financially ready enough. I'm not smart enough. And I'm definitely not confident enough. But this is what Tony Robbins will say to you. He'll say, and he'll actually ask you, do you think that when Steve Jobs launched his first product ever, that he didn't feel scared about what the market would say? Do you think that J.K. Rowling, when she got rejected by 12 publishers for Harry Potter, that she didn't feel like shit? Do you really think that anyone that you look up to doesn't feel the things that you're feeling, isn't scared to take the leap, isn't scared to actually do it? Of course, everyone has these thoughts. These thoughts that you have in your mind right now that you're scared of are not unique to you. You are not special for having these thoughts. You are not the exception. And what really separates someone that you look up to versus someone who doesn't do anything about their life is their ability to be able to listen to those thoughts but not believe them. Because so many people end up marrying limitation to the point where they tell themselves this sad story that they're scared, that they're scared, that they're scared, and they actually believe it so much that it ends up running their lives. What will actually make you special and will actually differentiate you is for you to not believe these common thoughts that everyone has. That's what's really going to set you apart from a decent life to a great life where you are proud of yourself for fighting your fears and doing the scary stuff that you can be closer to achieving your dream and your goals. So, in summary, what exactly did we learn from Jen Sincero, Bob Kittle, and Tony Robbins? What we learned is, number one, there is a difference between wanting to change your life and deciding to change your life. Because when you decide, there are no more excuses. And when you decide, you are actually committing, which is the most important part. The second thing is you need to jump before you are ready. I get it. I've been there. You're planning, but you're not actually jumping. You're not actually doing. Because when you actually start doing the things rather than just thinking about it, that's when you can actually start. And last but not least, you cannot let common fears hold you back. Yes, I get it. You can hear them, you can listen to them, but you cannot believe them. Because the moment you actually believe them is when you can never break through that ceiling that you've already put for yourself. And if you want to be those people that you look up to and that you admire, then this is what you need to do. Because it's not just you that has fears, it's everyone else as well. Now you've finally reached the end of the video, and if you actually are listening and watching me right now, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, posting videos like this every week is not easy. There's days where actually I'm like, why did I get myself into this? It's really scary. But you know, I really need to follow my own advice too. I need to do things that make me uncomfortable, and for me, this is one of them. So if you watched until the end and you're listening to me right now, I really want to give you a heartfelt thank you, because it's people like you that remind me to keep on going and to keep feeling uncomfortable. So with that kind of out of its way, if you really enjoyed the video and if it really made you think about something or lit some sort of fire under your ass to do something, and really consider subscribing to me. I would love to be able to be that person for you that can motivate you to chase your goals. And yeah, now at this point I'm rambling. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.